Everybody, it's Near and Far Reborn Dolls. I'm sorry for the terrible lighting, and I'm also sorry that I have not been on YouTube very much lately. It's my December school vacation, and I've been spending a lot of time working on dolls for the 2019 Rose Doll Show, and so I can't really show them to you. So you're gonna have to wait for those. I've also been working on my end of the year video. Each year I do an artist portfolio. So I basically have pictures of all of my babies. I'm finishing up one African American baby. I'll just pan up there so you can just see her little feetsies right there. She's my first African American baby that I've painted with Genesis paints. I have painted them before with air dry paints, but she is almost done. Her head, the glue is drying in her head, and she will be the last baby of 2018. So I just need to add her. So you can look forward to seeing that pretty soon. But lately I've sort of had a hankering, if you will, to go back and revisit some of my babies that I painted with air dry and see if I can improve on them. And the one I decided to start with is my little Tiffany by Natalie Blick, which I made into the Tin Woodsman's daughter. And there are certain things about this doll that I really love. I don't really want to remake the whole doll. There's certain things I just love about this doll, and there are certain things that I really think I could improve on. So let's start with the things that I love about this doll. I love this sculpt, and this is a sold out limited edition sculpt. I love her little expression with her open mouth. I love the position of her hands. Sorry, I know the lighting is just absolutely horrible. It's late at night. I like her size. I also think I did a really good job of rooting her. She's got a nice thickly rooted gray hair. I know it tends to look white, but it is gray. I love the black streak that's in her hair right in the front. I put that there on purpose. And I love the length of her hair. And rooting is something that I normally don't like to do, and I don't really like my rooting skills. So when I can find a doll that I really like how it's rooted, I kind of want to hold on to that. I love her black glass eyes and her little sideways glance. But there are things about her that I'm not as pleased about. You can see that her additions are sort of coming apart. Although I really like her face and how her face came out and her head. I really like how her head is weighted and how kind of floppy and newborn it is. There's too much stuffing in her arms for me, though. I don't know. It looks like she looks like a bodybuilder to me. You can see how loose her outfit is, but how tight her arms are. I also really don't like how her arms came out in terms of the metallic. It's supposed to look like she's partly made of metal, and the gray ended up looking too dark. And I don't know. I just don't like how it turned out. She also is looking very shiny, and yes, that is shine that you see. And I don't know why. I never had any issues with a matte sealer making a doll shiny, but for this certain matte sealer, I don't know what happened. I don't know. This is one of the first dolls I painted when I moved from Maine to Utah. So maybe the dryness of the air, I don't know. So I don't really like the fact that she's super, super shiny. Although, like I said, I do think I did a really good job with her skin tone and her nails. I have a love-hate relationship with fingernails and toenails. So I thought this would be a perfect doll to redo. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave her face just the way it is, except I'm going to obviously touch up some of these things, because I don't think I can put this in the oven, because this is just foam. And I think it will, if I repainted her face, I think it would just, in a new wave oven, it would just do terrible things to the doll. What I do think I'm going to do is I'm going to redo her limbs and redesign her metallic parts, paint them in a lighter color. So I'm going to strip all of her limbs. I am going to keep, I like these rivets. I hope that when I go to strip her that they don't come off with her, because they're just stuck on with the adhesive that they came with. They're like stick-on jewels. But I really, really like them. And then I'm going to take out some of the stuffing of these arms so she doesn't look like a bodybuilder. I'm going to leave the same body. I sewed a heart onto her body, which I just love. So this is to give you an idea of what she looks like before. And I'll come back with after. Alrighty, if you are easily offended by taking apart a doll, now would be the time to look away. I'm going to show you just a speeded up version of taking apart a reborn doll and what they're like inside and how you can do this kind of stuff yourself. I know sometimes as a collector, it feels like literally like you're taking apart a work of art, and it's so daunting at first. But this is the way I got started actually wanting to make reborn dolls. At first, I didn't want to touch them at all. I was like, no way, this is a work of art. It would be like, repainting the Mona Lisa or something like that. But then I got a doll that was extremely heavy. It was a toddler doll, and it was just so heavy that I never really played or interacted with her. And so I took her apart for the first time and found that she was weighted with glass beads, like her entire legs and her entire arms, and she was just way too heavy. And it was so easy to take out those glass beads, those finely ground glass beads, and put more fiber fill in her, and it just made her much easier to deal with. So that's really how I started thinking about making reborn dolls, was actually fixing my dolls to make them perfect for me, to either put more weight in them in certain places if they were too heavy, or less weight if they were too heavy, doing things like adding magnets for pacifiers, and doing other sorts of modifications. And that's when I thought, it's kind of demystifies the process. But I know a lot of people are still kind of squeamish about it. So if not, you can look away. You can look back in about 1 minute or so, and see the finished product. But in the meantime, I hope by watching this, you can see how easy some of these things are to do. And there's no excuse really if you've got a doll that's too heavy or too light, or you don't like a certain aspect of them, or you wish they had a magnet, or you wish they didn't have a magnet. There's really no reason that you can't take apart a doll. They're very easy to put back together. Another thing I wanted to show as we get in here a little bit later as I'm trying to strip the paint off. Keep in mind this is air dry paint, so air dry paint is not as durable as Genesis heat set paint. I recently saw on a post in a Facebook group, a customer had claimed that the paint just rubbed off the doll and was asking an artist to repaint the doll at the artist's expense. And I just wanted to show you in this section coming up how difficult it is to remove paint. I mean, I had to soak the limbs, and I had to really scrub. You'll see me get in here with a toothbrush, all sorts of things, because man, is it tough to remove paint when you don't want it to be there. So during this part, I am putting eyelashes on our little Tin Woodsman's daughter here. I'm using Gem Tack glue, which dries clear, and I am using doll eyelashes. I picked blonde to go more with her hair, and there's some eyelashes I wanted to use up because most of the time now I root eyelashes, but in this case I didn't feel I could do that with the eyes already glued in there. So I just put some glue on the bottom of the upper lash, and I'm using toothpicks to hold it in place. The eyelashes have kind of a curve to them that never seems to match the curve of the eye. And so by putting a little bit of glue on both and just holding with a toothpick, you start at one corner of the eye and just hold it there with your toothpick and then kind of work your way along. You can see there I added a little bit more glue because it wasn't really sticking. It takes a few minutes for it to hold, but it's not too bad. And you just kind of work your way along and you try to push the edge of the lash kind of up underneath that eyelid and between the eyelid and the eye, so it's sort of covered. Especially in this case, since they're blonde lashes, they have a very light colored base, and that didn't really look good against her eyes. In this part, I have soaked the limbs in that 91% rubbing alcohol solution for about an hour, and now I am rubbing them off. It's interesting how long this process takes, and like I said, I really wanted to show people who say, oh, the paint rubs off, even air dry paints. A lot of artists who paint with Genesis say, well, I don't paint with air dry because it's too easy to come off. Well, here I am scrubbing. Sorry, something that has been soaking for an hour, and you can see even sped up how difficult it is to get off. Now, granted, it's a very dark gray, which would be much darker than your typical skin tone, but it's a long process, and I have to get all sorts of materials here to get this to come off. And then I washed it, of course, after I started, before I started painting the limbs with Genesis heat set paints. So when people ask me, is air dry durable? Yes, it is. This has been matte sealed, so that's part of it. It's getting that matte sealer off. And this is really strong alcohol, some of the strongest alcohol that you can buy. And so this is the end of the in-process part, and now we're going to look at the finished one. Alrighty, hey everyone, we're back. I'm going to show you Treasure Chopper, the Tin Woodsman's daughter, all complete. Decided to change her outfit while I was at it, and I think she came out really, really nice. So first of all, here's her little foot. I lightened up the gray color considerably and decided to do just an all-over color. And I don't know if you can tell, but she's got a little bit of metallic gray in there. Like, it's almost like silver glitter, I guess, is what it looks like. I used gray on her creases instead of the normal red on her creases. And I did a little bit of blushing. I love these hands. I absolutely love them. And I kept her nails realistic. And then on the face, basically, I just added some eyelashes. I matte sealed her face. Actually, I redid her lips a little bit with pencil, and because I don't have any air dry paints, and also did a little bit around her eyes, and then matte sealed her so that she is just more matte. She was very, very shiny before. So here is the finished product. She's going to be staying in my collection because I love this kit so much. So thanks for tuning in to Treasure's Transformation. TTFN, ta-ta for now.